Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
And welcome everybody to FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. This is the Fighting Irish Daily Blitz, and I'm your host, Rob Fidoff, also known as RPT. You can find me on Twitter at PFidoff. So before episode 86 today, I wanted to point out, give a reminder, we have a new or updated website for FanStream Sports. It's not just the Notre Dame podcast on FanStream Sports. We have some other great podcasts and material out there. But the updated website is fanstreamsports.com. There's great content out there. I can't say enough. There's other podcasts to watch out there. So check that out at fanstreamsports.com for the updated website. So for episode 86 today, I mentioned last week, Jack Swarbrick, athletic director, is stepping down early 2024, and Notre Dame has hired Pete Bevacqua to be the new athletic director. And he's currently the chairman of NBC Sports. He's been there for 4 years. He's a Notre Dame graduate from 1993, graduated with an English degree. Yes, I got that right. Yeah, graduated with an English degree, magna cum laude. And then he went to Georgetown for his law degree and graduated in 1997. From 89 to 93, he was a walk-on punter for Coach Lou Holtz. So I always considered 1988 to 1993 the golden age in my lifetime for Notre Dame football. So he was a part of that for at least 4 out of those 5 years. So what do I want to see from Pete Bevacqua as he takes over in early 2024? He is supposedly doing some on-the-job training before Jack Swarbrick does step down in early 2024. So as this on-the-job training happens, and then from early 2024 and beyond, here's the top 5 things I want to see from the new athletic director, Pete Bevacqua. So for number 1, I want a continued clean program at Notre Dame, not just football, but for all the athletic programs at Notre Dame. I know there's always going to be some issues within schools. Notre Dame after the 2012 season, early 2013, I don't know the specific details, but I think we pretty much were aware that Everett Golson, I don't know, I can't say it enough, but it was pretty much inferred that he cheated on a test. And then the next year, he was not part of the Notre Dame program. And he had to apply for reinstatement at Notre Dame or reapply to Notre Dame to prove that, yes, he is so-called worthy to be back on the Notre Dame football team. And he was back on the team in 2014. But he was pretty much kicked off for a year and then did have a chance to come back to the team, and they granted that opportunity for him. But it was dealt with quickly and severely. Also in 2014, there was some other Notre Dame football players part of a cheating so-called scandal, and then they were either kicked off for the remainder of their career at Notre Dame, or they had a chance to reapply or get reinstated the next year. It wasn't a slap on the wrist. Number 2, and actually Jack Swarbrick wants to have this worked out before he leaves in 2024. I want a new TV deal worked out and then a new apparel deal. They pretty much have no choice. The apparel deal ends at the end of 2023 this year. So that's got to be worked out anyway. So whether it's Adidas, Under Armour, or Nike, it's pretty much going to be one of those 3 unless some up-and-coming company, but I doubt they would want to go with an up-and-coming company. They are going to have to choose between those 3. And I've always said too, I just want them to choose a company where the equipment is going to be the safest for Notre Dame's athletes, especially the shoes. I can't say that enough. Safety is my biggest issue with the new apparel deal, especially with the shoes. And I hope they choose the company that has the best safety record. And then 2 for TV deal. I believe that's up in 2025. However, I'd like to get a new deal worked out as soon as possible. And I've always said it before, I do not like the way NBC does the Notre Dame games. It's very amateurish. They always just give it as a testing grounds for their certain broadcasters. Jack Collinsworth, I mean, he's just more or less starting out. Same with Jason Garrett. I don't think they have the greatest analysis or analysts, I should say, for Notre Dame football. The pregame show is pretty much non-existent. they could do so much with doing Notre Dame games, and it's just second rate at best. I would like them to leave NBC. I know Pete Bevacqua is coming from NBC, but it seems like he's a guy that knows how to work out some deals, and maybe he could change some things at NBC if they do continue to go with NBC. So TV and apparel deal is item number 2. Number 3, I'd like to see some more affordable ticket prices. A lot of the tickets, are from former alumni or just, I'm going to be pretty blunt, wealthy people in general. And a lot of them do not care about football. They care about the almighty dollar. And if there's a chance for them to sell tickets to whoever, they will, to make a profit. We saw that game I went to in 2019, Georgia, a powerhouse SEC team coming to Notre Dame. And I was on the other side, and I could just see a sea of red of Georgia fans. And those Notre Dame, whether it was alumni, just wealthy ticket holders in general, they sold their tickets for the almighty dollar. They weren't like us diehard fans or just general Notre Dame fans. And they just care about Notre Dame and going to a Notre Dame. There's so many people out there that are, older than me, in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that have never had an opportunity to go to Notre Dame Stadium to attend a game because whether it's the prices, or actually their families, like a family of 5 or 6. I mean, it's just me. So price isn't as much of an hindrance is what I'm trying to say is, if I had a family of, 3 or 4 kids, I mean, I know people like that. They're like, yeah, I would love to go to a game, but I can't because I just can't afford the price. So I'd like to see some more affordable pricing. Another game, Cincinnati in 2021, you see a sea of red and black. Those tickets were sold. And I tell you what, diehard fans like me or just general, when I say general, I'm just saying, I can kind of get, crazy during games. Other fans, if it's a loss, they don't feel as bad after a game. They count their blessings more than me is what I'm trying to say. Whereas a loss doesn't mean as much. What I'm trying to say is if I, and even the so-called, what I call general fans during that Ohio State game, see a sea of scarlet and gray, they're going to go ape shit. That's going to be an embarrassment to just us as fans, to Notre Dame as a school in general. That's a huge game. If Notre Dame can win that game, that puts us on the map and the college sports landscape that Notre Dame is a legitimate contender. I mean, I know a lot of things can happen after that game. We still got Clemson and USC, and there's always a chance to be an upset by a mediocre team. But that Ohio State game is huge. And if I don't see, it should just be mostly green, blue, gold during that game. We're wearing the green jerseys that game. Hopefully they make it a green out game. Number 4, NIL. A lot of people think NIL is killing Notre Dame. I don't think that it's killing Notre Dame as much as what people think. That's a whole issue just for college sports in general. It's the wild, wild west right now, where there's no regulation. The NCAA screwed the pooch. They just let Pandora's box out with any sort of plan, and now we're in a mess with NIL right now. But I think Pete Bevacqua has to figure that out, and I think the NCAA's got to figure that out too. We'll see how that happens. But NIL, just in general, just figure that out. So the last portion, paying top dollar to get the best coaching staff for all sports. Jack Swarbrick and Ron Paulus screwed the pooch with the Andy Ludwig not hiring him from Utah. Some say they just didn't want him. I think it's mostly because they didn't want to pay the buyout, which was not that much anyway. But if you want to get the top head coaches, obviously we want that as well. But you have to have great assistant coaches as well. And you got to pay them top dollar. Ohio State does it. Alabama does it. Georgia does it. We have to stop being so damn cheap and pay our assistant coaches top dollar value. Secondly, this is like a 1-1A. I know Georgia or Alabama's the one I keep hearing about this. But if you're an athlete at Notre Dame, you got to be mentally prepared, but obviously physically prepared. You got to be in great shape. And what's the biggest thing to get in shape besides just, working out and workouts in general? Nutrition. I think for all sports at Notre Dame, they should have their personal nutritionists where they eat at, a dining hall where all their meals are cooked for them. So they're in the tip-top shape physically and not just, mentally prepared, in shape, but, with that nutrition as well. Alabama does that. Notre Dame does not do that right now. They need a nutritionist. They need a personal chef for these student athletes to get in the best shape possible. So let's just sum up in general right now. 1, continue with a clean program. 2, get that TV deal done, get the apparel deal done. 3, let's try to get, especially for football, some affordable tickets. Get this NIL thing figured out as much as you can. And then finally, if we wanted the best talent coaching wise, we got to start paying them, especially those assistant coaches, because the head coach can't do it all by him or herself. And then for facilities wise, nutrition, personal nutritionist for these players, because they have to be, I can't say enough, tip top shape physically, and nutrition is obviously a big thing. But I think the next big podcast is going to be with my guest either early to mid-July, where we have our biggest concerns for the Notre Dame football program going into 2023. And that's going to be with Greg Schaefer from East of the Bend Productions. That may be a little bit longer podcast, but in any event, look out for that in early to mid-July. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 86. And as always, go Irish.